Bum, 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 bum. You know what we do? We do the news tied into American government, economics, current events, or whatever we are studying in class. This is Senator Bob Casey. He is running for office in Pennsylvania. He's with the Democrats. He should side with the Democrats. That's what they always do. Allies support the presidential candidate. Now, it's not Joe Biden, it's Kamala Harris, but that is their side. They work together. Well, he's struggling to get votes. The data on the ground does not look good, so he has had to make a shift if he wants to get those Steelers fans to vote for him. So he has separated himself from Joe Biden. He is no longer connecting with Biden, and he is actually coming out and supporting Donald Trump. This is unheard of. This is unbelievable, but that tells you the state of affairs today in our elections. It tells you which direction it's going. It tells you who people are voting for, and he knows it, and he wants to win. So he is distancing himself from Biden and Harris, which is basically saying, I know you don't want to vote for him, so don't vote for him. I know you're voting for Trump. You can vote for Trump and vote for me. And he has actually run an ad on TV where he explained as much and says he definitely supports this message. What is the message? That he is with Trump. This is unheard of. But that shows you the desperation in the Democratic Party. That shows you the desperation of Bob Casey, who seemed like he was going to get an easy win. But as we've been saying on here for months, the internal data has been showing otherwise. The actual numbers, the betting markets are telling you a different story than the legacy media. What else happened in the news? Well, we had this iconic moment, and this is not exaggeration. This will very likely go down as one of the greatest political stunts in history. It'll end up in your textbooks. Trump's McDonald's appearance works on so many levels. First being it calls attention to the likely lie that Kamala Harris worked at a McDonald's once upon a time, as she says. And the reason she speaks of that, because she wants to seem middle class. She wants to seem like an everyday person. But it doesn't seem like it's true. So his stunt calls attention to that. But it also does exactly what she's trying to do. He is trying to look like a regular guy. He is a billionaire, but somehow he throws on the apron, is working the fries, and we forget that he is a billionaire and creates this iconic image and this view that he's just a regular guy like everybody else. And we know he eats McDonald's a lot. This, again, calls attention to that. If he's a billionaire and he eats McDonald's a lot, maybe he's a lot like us. And what other restaurant is more American than McDonald's? Everyone knows McDonald's. Everyone eats McDonald's. He's there yucking it up, chatting it up, humanizing himself. This thing just won the weekend. When I mentioned it in class, literally every student was aware, which is unbelievable because typically students are living their lives, doing their thing, not necessarily connected to politics or government or social studies. So when you have a breakthrough like this, it really speaks volumes to how significant this moment was. Furthermore, in the news, last-minute legal ruling allows betting on U.S. elections. So the courts have said, no, it's okay. Everyone can legally bet on elections. So we have the betting markets, and you can see those. But as we put in more money and more bettors, you're going to get more accurate data. It's going to more accurately reflect the populace. It's going to more accurately reflect the views of the nation when the entire nation can make wagers and put their money where their mouth is. Before, it was believed that there were possible whales manipulating the market. There were fewer players, so one guy could come in and spend a lot of money, not trying to win, but just to manipulate the market to make it look like one way or make it look like one side is doing better or worse. And in doing so, they could discourage possible voters, discourage turnout. That's just one theory. But now that everyone can get in on the action, it will become more accurate and more responsive to the views than polling data that often tends to favor the left for various reasons, which are well documented. You can search them up on the news or in Google. And we can see these aren't the latest data points, but we can see Trump has significantly pulled ahead as Kamala has struggled to explain her platform over the last couple weeks. And the data's pretty rough. John Ralston, kind of the guru in Nevada, has been reporting on the early data coming in, the early vote. Nevada is supposed to be Kamala Harris's strongest swing state, and she's struggling. So that means the close swing states are going to be a problem. Early voting data, the Republicans are winning in Nevada. It's unbelievable. The rural data is great. The Clark County data is phenomenal out of Las Vegas, which should typically favor the Democratic parties with the culinary unions. The culinary unions came out in support of her officially, but it appears that the culinary union workers are maybe not following the union orders and are possibly voting for Trump anyway. The no tax on tip thing that he came out with first probably influenced their decision. They believe that he's actually going to get it done. We'll see how that plays out. But then the data got even worse on day 2. It was a 2-to-1 advantage. She is losing Clark County. She needs Clark County. Bad signs. But they get even worse. We look at New Mexico, the bluest of all blue. Well, it's not the bluest of all blue, but New Mexico is a Democrat state. It always goes Democrat. And yes, she is winning 49-46. But it should not ever be this close in New Mexico. And then you can bake in the fact that Trump typically is underrepresented in polls by 5 points. Maybe he actually wins this thing. All things aside, Biden won this in 2020 by double digits. New Mexico always goes Democrat. And the fact that this is close, it does not bode well for the rest of the states. If she cannot win big in the easy states, then how is she supposed to win it all in the tough states? And you can see New Mexico, going back to 1992, has gone Democrat every year, other than 2004 when the Republicans were running hot. Or actually we're very popular as a party. It was early in the Iraq War, but even then, when the Republicans won, it was only by 0.7 points. This is a Democrat state. You look at 2020, Biden had 54% to 43 from Trump over 11-point victory. She's only up by 3. This is not good. National Early Voting Day with 13 days to go in 2020. 92 million votes come in. A lot of mail-in votes because of COVID. But of the 92 million, 46%, 13 days to go, were Democrats to just 26%. That gave the Democrats a 20-point head start into Election Day. And on Election Day, the Republican turnout surges and they come roaring back. They were close in 2020, but the Republicans couldn't quite make up the 20-point gap. This time around 2024, 13 days out, it's 44% to 38%. They've only got a 6-point head start. They needed every bit of that 20 points in 2020. In 2024, with only 6 points ahead, that's not good. Wall Street Journal a couple of days ago releases their late night poll. And nationwide, polls are garbage, as I always say. They don't tell us anything because we have the Electoral College. We elect based on a state-by-state system. The Democrats always win the popular vote. They always look good in national polls, but it doesn't mean anything. It's about the states. But even then, that being said, Trump is up nationally. He's not supposed to be leading in a national poll. The influence of Los Angeles, Chicago, New York City, these major cities always push, with a heavy liberal influence in the cities, the Democrat over in the popular vote. The fact that he is compensating or overcoming that is unbelievable. Again, we use a electoral college state-by-state system, but this gives you a general idea of how bad it looks for the Harris campaign. And because it looks so bad, Kamala has had to once again shift her message. She's not doing well in the polls. She's not doing well in the betting markets because she's not doing well. She is having trouble explaining her political platform. So she has gone back to the tried but true, not really true, or true in the sense of is it believable or not, or if it works or not. Going back to the Never Trump movement. He's racist. He's a threat to democracy. He's Hitler. He likes Hitler. Scary, scary, scary. And it's really not a bad move for Kamala in the sense that she can't explain for her party platform. She doesn't know what she believes. If you don't know what you want to do, then why are you doing it? If you don't know what you're going to do as president, then why are you running as president? Now, in her defense, her staff is consistently giving her mixed messages. They can't agree on what they believe. And so sometimes the word salad is a result of her not remembering what she's supposed to say because 2 different people have said something different. But at the end of the day, you're running for president. You need to know what you believe and what you want to do and what your policy is. And you need to tell people what your policy is so they know whether to vote for you. Now, this plan will work to rally the base, but the base was already going to vote for her. They've already been drinking the Never Trump Kool-Aid for a while. They love this stuff. They eat it up. But they're not going to decide the election. Who decides is the undecided, and the undecided has been hearing this for 16 years. Why are they now going to say, oh, you know what? You're right, he is Hitler. I didn't think about that. No, you've been telling him he's Hitler for 16 years, and they still, to this day, are undecided, which means it's not resonating with them. But they will try it again, and they kind of have to because their platform has problems. And they're having trouble explaining the platform. They're having trouble explaining the last 4 years. And rather than explain the policies that have not worked, and rather than explain the policies that might not work in the future, it's just vote for me because I'm not Hitler, he's Hitler. Well, if he's Hitler, then why is Senator Bob Casey, the Democrat, out of Pennsylvania saying, I'm with Trump? So does Bob Casey like Hitler? Is that what Kamala Harris is saying? That he supports Hitler? The important senator seat? Or maybe he's not Hitler. Maybe he's not Hitler. I don't know. One way or the other. You make the call. Oh, and there's one last thing. The juicy story floating around that no one knows about and no one understands. But here it is. For the last 3 weeks, a story has been shopped around, according to inside sources, that if were true, would end Trump's campaign immediately. If this story, this salacious, scandalous story that's being shopped around in news agencies, if it's true, it's over. Well, here's the deal. For 3 weeks, it's been shopped around, and CNN, MSNBC, Fox, ABC, all of the major media outlets, legacy media, they've all passed. They've all said, oh, okay, yep, thanks, but no thanks. So what does that say about the credibility of this supposed bombshell story? If the facts can't be verified, if these news agencies that typically don't like Trump and could sell a lot of advertising ads if they're the one to break the story, if they won't touch it, it's likely not true. Someone probably will eventually buy it. Someone will probably eventually publish it. But at that point, it will be revealed that, isn't that the story that everybody looked at and said wasn't true for 3 weeks? How can we believe it? They won't believe it. And it doesn't have to be everybody, because the blue base, they're going to love it. The Never Trumpers, they're going to love it. They're going to repost it. But the undecided voter will likely practice a little bit of discernment and understand that, yeah, this is a fake story. This is fake news. And obviously the Republicans aren't going to like it. But it really just comes down to the undecided voter. And the undecided voter being undecided at this moment and really thinking things through, proving to be an intelligent elector, they're going to look at this and probably not trust it. They're going to remain pretty unbiased and analytical. That's your news.